Howdy, y'all. I am so excited to be able to share the first Cherie show that we did many years ago with y'all. And I want you to sit back, I want you to look, I want you to listen, I want you to think about. And sadly, I want you to think about some of the businesses that were sponsors during that period of time did not survive. The Blackberry Ridge Eatery didn't survive, the Woodbridge Inn didn't survive. Julie's restaurant didn't survive. So many restaurants didn't make it through this time in our economic downturn. We've had so many things happen, so many people losing jobs, so many people changing careers, so many different things happening. But with that, a lot of positive things have happened too. Positive energy is coming because women are working at home now, making more money than they made in the workforce because they're doing things online, and they're just, it's amazing. Women are creative. We are smart. We are strong, and we come out of whatever the good Lord throws at us, and we are doing that, and I love that. I love sharing success stories with women. One of the things that I did as the host of North Georgia Now for many years, I had different co-hosts, and if you've watched me in the past, you know that my beautiful daughter Angela went to be with the Lord. She was one of my co-hosts. And things just changed. And Freddy had been my Freddy Friday co-host, and we had a blast. He drove the motor home, we interviewed people, we had so much fun. But he had had a job that had insurance and benefits. Well, the opportunity came back to go back to that job with insurance and benefits. What would you do? Of course you'd take it back. So things have changed a little bit. Occasionally he will co-host, and we still, you know, love sharing these stories with you, love sharing the trips, love sharing the travels, love sharing the fact that you can come out of whatever you're facing. The loss of a parent, the loss of a child, the loss of your jobs. And I've heard from so many women who said, I did that job all those years and I really didn't like it, but I made enough money to get by. Now I'm hearing from them that, hey, I got a job recruiter, I put myself out on the internet, and all of a sudden I'm making $25,000 more a year. So I'm hearing some really cool success stories. So I want you to sit back, I want you to watch. This is the #1 Cherie show. This program happened because my dear friend Hans Rueffert and Huitt Rabel knew that a part of my life had changed and programming was different, and I said, well, what are we going to name this program? And they said the Cherie Show, of course, because everybody always called your other program the Cherie Show because that's what it was. I said, oh, okay. So sit back, enjoy a few laughs, a little bit of some craziness, because you will see sitting next to me Hans Rueffert. The crazy thing is the doctors gave him a 1% chance of survival, 1%. He has been here 15 years. So today is such an encouragement to me to think about as you battle, whatever you're facing, whatever your battle is, you can make it 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 15 years. So sit back and enjoy Hans and Freddy and I as we did the first Cherie show. Welcome to the Cherie Show, coming to you from the heart of Appalachia, where rivers, mountains, and good friends meet. I'm Cherie, and you are?
And I'm Freddy Brackett from Ball Ground, Georgia.
Ball Ground, Georgia. We hope to take you to the streets of Ball Ground, Georgia in Cherokee County, to the streets of North Carolina in Cherokee County. Now, what about that?
That's a wide span, isn't it?
It is. It is a beautiful, beautiful area. And you know, if you have ever visited the areas that we're going to talk about, the places that we're going to bring guests in from, you know this place is addictive. There's something about Appalachia, from the culture, the cooking. Now, Freddie, the cooking. There's something about a Southern cook. I happen to be a pretty good Southern cook. Now, cooking, quilting, what are things that you remember as a child in the South that possibly some of our viewers didn't grow up with?
Oh, wow. You had mentioned quilting and lots of arts and craft and Indian
Yes, absolutely.
stuff.
Right.
Is,
Well, Ball Ground, Georgia is named because of
Yes,
a
it
ball
is.
game that was between two tribes. Is that correct?
yes.
And that's how the town got their name. And into Cherokee, North Carolina, a place that we love to visit. And, you know, it's funny, we went up to the Indian Village in Cherokee about 3 months ago. We step off the motorhome, and there are a couple of our viewers from Fannin County, Georgia.
Yeah.
And they said, that's Freddy. That's Freddy. Well, that's what we're about. We're about getting out into your communities. We want to have our pictures made with you. We want to talk to you. We want to share your recipes. We want to share what goes on in Appalachia, from the things that your mom might have done. Now, did your grandmother ever dry fruit on tin out by the barn?
I'm not sure she did. I didn't see it, but I have seen it done.
Right.
And I have seen people put it in their car in
Absolutely.
the back, above the back seat.
Yes, yeah.
That's a good safe place.
It is, because it keeps the flies off of it,
Yeah.
and it keeps the bees off of it. So we're going to be talking the difference in Appalachia. You might have dried your fruit on a piece of tin in the back of your 67 Chevy.
Yeah.
Today you might do it in...
I wonder what the car smelled like after a little
Oh,
while.
I don't know. I never thought about
I bet that was strong.
I bet it was. But the things that changed in Appalachia brought us to a new day and a new time, but many of the things of Appalachia we still love. I love to snuggle up under an old quilt, and quite often you will see me change the quilt on our set. I can do this because I have a large quilt collection. I can do this because we are lucky enough to be coming to you from my home. Now, the coolest thing in the world, I think I figured 35 feet from my dressing room to the set.
I guess so.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Give us the history on this quilt.
This quilt is Grandma's Flower Garden, and I bought it about 25 years ago. I bought it at a trade show I was doing. I paid about $225 for it. When you think about $225 25 years ago, was a pretty good bit of money.
Yeah.
But when you think about the tiny stitches and the work that was done, and this to me, I guess if I chose all my quilts, this is my absolute favorite. So that's why I chose to open today's program with it.
Have you ever done any quilting yourself?
Oh, let me tell y'all. My granny would tell you, if she was alive and well today, she would say, she just can't get it together. I couldn't use a thimble, and I would get blood on the quilt. And Granny is like, okay, girl, get it straightened out. And I said, I can't help it. I'm not a good quilter. I don't like repetition. You know, I like to do things differently. I can't make kraut, but my daughter Dawn makes great kraut.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people, Lord, give me patience now, right now. I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants. You're very organized. Opposites must attract, because you kind of keep things in line, you keep things going, and I kind of, woo! Does that describe us?
Pretty much.
Pretty
yeah.
much, pretty much. Now let's talk a little bit about a place that we visited recently. The Possum Drop at Clay's Corner in Brasstown, North Carolina. Now tell folks why we were there.
Well, we were there to see how they drop a possum.
And to hear music by?
Of course, it's a yearly thing. You know, the Barker
is.
brothers are there every year.
They are.
And
they
actually,
are.
they wrote a song for this event.
They did.
And what's the name of the song? I don't remember.
I wish I could tell y'all, because I don't remember.
It's something about a possum anyway.
Maybe a little baby possum, I think. I can't remember. But, you know, we will feature guest artists from the areas that we serve. We will feature guest artists from Nashville. We'll bring in some folks from some country music. I'm a little bit rock and roll. He's completely country.
I started to say, I thought you were going to say, and he's a little bit country. I was going to say a little bit lot.
He's a whole lot of country. You know, our opposite, I love old country music. I loved Tammy Wynette, Apartment Number 9. I love Loretta Lynn, Don't Come Home with Drinking, Fist City, You Ain't Woman Enough. You love anything Loretta Lynn ever did.
Almost.
Almost. Now, we have seen her 6 times in 2 years.
Probably so, yeah.
Lucky enough to have done a special that was done at Hurricane Mills.
Yeah,
That's
her
one
ranch.
At
yes.
her ranch, and we want to talk to y'all about our travels that we will share with you. And that's one of the things in Appalachia. I have seen things in the past 2 years that were within 150 miles of me.
Yeah.
Now, 150 miles, and I had never been there. So you took me to some places. Let's talk a little bit about DeSoto Falls, Alabama.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful
It's
place.
Actually, my first time was not too long ago before we went.
Right.
I didn't even know it existed. And then Howard's Chapel.
Beautiful place for a wedding.
A church,
oh, wow.
a church that's actually built around this huge rock. Beautiful rock.
Within an hour and a half of us? Is that about right?
Yeah.
So we want to encourage daycations. We want to share those with you. Now, if you have places you've been, I've now been through Hanging Dog to where? Where did we end up?
Tellico Plains, Tennessee.
Do you want to tell the story of the panic on my face as we went through miles and miles and miles on a dirt road, and I look at the gas hand and it says 22 miles to go, and I'm thinking, I wonder exactly where we're headed.
Well, you know, I'd never been there myself, so I was kind of in a tiff myself.
23 degrees, and I'm trying to text the kids, okay, if we don't come home, this is where we will be found.
Do you remember toward the end of our journey, before we got back out into civilization, we crossed this bridge with the waterfall was on the left?
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was very beautiful, but we caught it because I was trying to get out of there.
I'm like, let me get a picture.
And as we went by, I said, hurry, look, the waterfall.
It was funny. It was funny. Now, one of the programs we're going to bring you in the near future will also be at Fields of the Wood. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because I had never been there until possibly 3 years ago.
Yeah, first time I'd ever been there was in the early 70s.
Okay.
And being as young as I was then, the only thing I remember is the hill with the 10 Commandments.
Right.
Now that is definitely something to see, but there's actually more there than just that, but that's what I stored in my mind all those years. But other than the 10 Commandments on the side of the hill, you can also drive all the way to the top, and there is,
is it called the Nation of Flags?
Yeah.
I believe that's right, yeah.
And it's a cross.
And everybody who has anything to do with the Church of God has been there, visited there. People used to flock there by the thousands, and now it's kind of a lost place, and we want to bring that back to life. We want to bring that back to you. So we have a beautiful message we're going to be sharing in the next week or so of Brother Matt Dobler doing a message there. It was an Easter message in February, but the cool thing about this is as Matt is standing, he's never been to this location in his life. He just drove all night long in from Missouri where he had just done a show. And he comes in zero sleep. I mean, like zero.
Yeah.
And on the way up there, I think he napped in the motorhome, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe 30 minutes. Yeah. He gets out and he steps out under this gorgeous view and he's looking at a tomb. And he said, this is so weird because my message is about we serve a risen Savior because there is an empty tomb. And it was incredible. It was truly a God thing.
You know, as you were talking, it made me think. So it was February of 2011 when we went up there.
Right.
Okay. Today is January the 11th. Do you know what we were surrounded by a year ago today?
Snow. Lots of snow.
And when you were saying that, you know, just a month later, we were at Field of the Woods, and it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, beautiful day.
It was not cold. The wind was just a slight breeze.
It was beautiful. And you took the camera and you got some really good shots in the winter. We want to encourage you to get out, winter months, get out and see things that are differently than they are in the spring, because quite often you will catch a glimpse of something that doesn't exist in the spring because of all the the coverage with the trees and the bushes and the brush. Now, Hiawassee happens to be one of our favorite places, and talk about rhododendron. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful place to take some pictures. So in the coming weeks,
they also have a nice campground.
They have a wonderful campground.
Right on the lake.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to tell you places you can go that you might take a motorhome, you might take a pop-up tent, you might, my idea of camping is the Holiday Inn. So I'm not much of a camping girl, but I will say
I love it.
He loves it. Opposites, I'm telling you, but he does love that, and it is so much fun, and we want to share our ideas and combine them with your ideas and successfully come up with great places for people to go that we will call a daycation. So now today we have a wonderful guest.
Yes, we do.
You had something he's famous for last Wednesday.
I did. And
What'd you
loved
have?
It. Chicken Parmesan.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the Woodbridge Inn and order your chicken Parmesan.
No, order the flounder.
Well,
Freddy.
what about a little bit of both?
fish and chicken,
Well,
possibly.
You know,
Possibly.
she ordered flounder, and I was going to taste it just to see what it tastes like, but it was gone before I even had a chance to. So.
I scarfed it down.
Yeah.
It is so good. But we want to introduce you to our friend Hans Rueffert. He was in the top 5, ended up top 3 in the first Food Network cook-off. He was amazing. He is that Georgia boy who took a bite of an onion and it was supposed to be in Vidalia. There was nothing Vidalia about that onion. And
Vidalia.
And he is like tearing up and you're going, oh my gosh, I think the onion was wrong. It was hot and spicy. But you're going to get to meet our friend, a true success story. He is an amazing cancer survivor. He has written the greatest cookbook you will ever purchase. It is called Eat Like There's No Tomorrow. He is now working on a new program, Eat Like There's No Tomorrow, because we are not guaranteed tomorrow. It is very important to Hans to share what he learned as a cancer survivor with you, with us, with the world. And we're going to meet Hans Rueffert when we come back in just a minute. You know, Hans' dad was a great influence in my life. He taught me some wonderful work ethics, and I think that's very important to look back at where you came from and why did you get there. You know, somebody influenced you. Now, there's a young man who is helping us do this program, Adam Richardson, A&T Towing. Can you talk
Adam
a little
Richards.
bit about Adam Richards?
Yes.
You knew him from as a little boy.
I've known him for years, yeah.
Okay, I met him as a young man. I was so impressed with his work ethics. And we want to say a big shout out to Trina and Adam at A&T Towing. You can reach A&T Towing by calling 706-253-TOWS or 8697. They do large tows. You know, they just loaded up was it a yacht that ended up going to Massachusetts? It was like a major undertaking.
Wow. Well, they've got small wreckers and
They
huge
do it
wreckers,
all.
so
Yeah,
they
do it all.
transport anything. They also have a service center, so
Right.
you can get your car serviced there. A friend of mine, Charlene Bowles, just got a set of tires and a front end alignment there. So.
Right. And let me tell you what they'll do. If you're standing at your driveway and you see your car gone, if you'll pick up the phone and call Adam, Trina, at 706-253-TOWS, they will be out there quickly to get your car off its head as it's laying at the end of the driveway, top side up.
Yeah.
Happened to me, and in 5 minutes they were here, weren't they? And Adam was scratching his head going, how did that happen? Don't know, but it totaled my car. So call them if you're in a pinch.
Yeah, and actually I was with Charlene and she had a blowout, and Adam was Johnny on the spot.
That's
Adam
it.
on the spot.
That's
He
it.
was right there.
And
to
he's a
rescue
good
us.
kid, good
Yeah.
family business. And that's what's important. We want to share the good local family businesses with you. We wouldn't be possible if it weren't for folks stepping up to the plate and helping us do what we do. So today, as we launch the Cherie Show, we will have a lot of thank yous to the people who have made today possible. Right now, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you're going to meet my friend Hans Rueffert, the owner of the Woodbridge Inn. Do you know the kid started working there when he was 4 years old? There's something about child labor. You know, we need to talk about
I heard
that.
that he was in his pajamas upstairs, and they'd holler upstairs, Hans, get down here and
Get out
help."
here and go to work. Let's
Yeah.
go. We're going to go to work when we come back in just a minute. Hey y'all, welcome back. We are so in tune with cooking. Love to cook. I'm a Southern cook, and this boy, chicken and dumplings.
Yeah, of
Now,
course.
this boy might make German dumplings. Hans Rueffert is joining us. Hans, welcome. We
Thank
are
you so
so
much.
excited. You are a big part of why we are here today. When things took a turn, you said, what a great opportunity. And I said, opportunity. Let's seize this opportunity.
Well, I mean, my dad always said sort of you can't make chicken salad out of chicken poop, but sometimes when somebody flings chicken poop at you, you got to figure out what to do with it.
That's it. That's it.
So I think you've always been a resilient, positive person. I think for a moment there you got a little clouded, and it's hard
I
sometimes.
did,
Sometimes
yeah.
the clouds can be a little overwhelming, but
Yeah.
but I'm proud to see you back doing what you love and inspiring so many people with your smiles and your stories. And I think that was one of the things that you mentioned to me I thought was so inspiring. There are sometimes people who literally can't get out of their home.
Right.
Or they're in the hospital, which I've, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but I've been in the hospital at times, and so you have to sometimes live vicariously through the travels and adventures of other people.
Exactly.
And so when you and Freddy actually go out to these places that either people have forgotten about or quite honestly have never heard of.
Right.
And there have been times when you guys talk about these areas and they sound like they're on the other side of the world and they're 10 minutes up the road. And you don't know about them.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the fun things about what the both of you do is you introduce people to things that are in their backyard that they've never seen.
Right. Now, have you ever been on Kimsey Mountain? Because I know as a ramp hunter, you might have possibly been Kimsey Mountain.
So we might have not known the name of the mountain.
Do you know the road that we took off Kimsey Mountain?
Yeah, it was Highway 68 between Ducktown and Turtletown.
Yeah, then probably so, actually.
Okay.
And that's sort of the area where they have, because in Turtletown they have a ramp festival every year.
Exactly, yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what ramps are a...
Smelly!
Well, and they are and they aren't. I mean, they have a bad rap, and basically it's a wild form of garlic or onions. And in Appalachia, there's... I don't know how many Appalachian vampires there are, although I have a pretty good mental image of what an Appalachian vampire might be.
Yeah.
But apparently in early settler days, they honestly thought that would ward off vampires, it being garlic. So, and I've heard, now I don't know if this is true or not, that there are some towns in Tennessee where there's a city ordinance that you can't eat ramps and attend church or go to school
Oh my gosh, how
go to
funny.
court. Like you can't eat ramps and go to a public place.
Offensive,
Exactly.
yes.
But if you eat them kind of fresh and sort of semi-raw coming out of the ground, they taste to me like kind of garlicky spinach. They're not
Okay.
like that crazy powerful. But once you pickle them, and that's what is so popular up in sort of North Georgia, Southeast Tennessee,
Right.
North Carolina, that sort of area, is pickled ramps, and that's where it's supposed to be where they get a little bit offensive.
And what did I eat them with? Like soup beans, or is that kind
ramps and taters is the
Okay.
most popular, and ramps and eggs. So what they usually do is chop them up and sort of saute them with potatoes or with eggs, and
Kind of like what is it, Mama Fix?
Poke salad?
Poke
Poke
salad,
Poke
yeah.
salad,
and,
yeah.
of course,
yeah.
poke salad, and there's a lot of history of poke salad as well. Is another one of those sort of indigenous native foods that a lot of people, probably weed eat and have no idea that that's something you can
Absolutely.
eat.
Yeah.
So definitely, when it's time for ramps and poke salad, we should do something with the both of those. because
Definitely. And it's spring. It is early spring.
Early spring, and my friend Huitt and I, the first time we went ramp hunting was right around April Fool's Day, and with ramps you have to be a little careful because there is a look-alike that is poisonous.
Wow.
But once you know the difference, it's completely obvious. I mean, so we'll show the difference when the time comes. So we don't want anybody to go out there because there are edible mushrooms in the mountains that you can forage for, of course, ramps and poke salad. But you do want to know what you're doing because
Absolutely.
you don't want to start eating things that can
And
make
you
you
can
sick.
and
Right.
you can find it year round.
No, I mean, again, they only come up now. Poke salad does grow year round, but you only eat the spring shoots because
Exactly.
it is actually listed as a poisonous plant. I mean, so if you go and research what is poke salad, it's listed as a toxin, and that's why when you cook poke salad, you boil it or blanch it and you change the water like 5 or 6 times. And while we're talking about it, I mean, we might as well talk about what poke salad is. It is it's high in vitamin C, and so early settlers or the early Appalachian folks had no vitamin C in their diet at the end of winter where they ate nothing but like sausages and preserved foods and
Right.
they had no vitamin C in their diet. Plus,
Salt cured, possibly.
exactly, and, absolutely salt cured. And so they would eat poke salad as part of their spring cleaning. And so that sort of toxic part of poke salad can cause some intestinal issues. But
Okay.
again, at the end of eating, you're eating nothing but preserved foods. They would have this, a spring cleaning and clean out, and then and go, and then you eat your fresh fruits and veggies as they come into season from there. So,
I've
but
never heard that statement before, but
Well-
I've watched your shows in the past, and you come up with some doozies.
well, I mean, I enjoy the sort of history and side stories that go with the food.
Oh, yeah.
If food is such a part of who we are, it's a part of our heritage, our culture, and as you mentioned, I mean, Appalachia. I mean, part of what defines us as a region is our food.
Absolutely.
And those sort of stories and things that go with it, I think to me are just fascinating.
Well, it's funny because I grew up Orlando, Atlanta, and then ended up here in the country. Okay, let me tell you something. I loved lox and cream cheese and bagels. I loved all kinds of different dishes, Greek dishes, all kinds of different things. But then I got to the country. There is nothing like a big old pot of chicken and dumplings. There is nothing like your mama's biscuit and gravy. There is nothing like your grandmother's homemade pound cake. So I truly captured that Southern cooking, and that was what I really, really loved. Now you have captured it all and made something that just blew my mind, a Southern cornbread that is blueberry cornbread. You took Southern and added a kick to it.
Yeah, and that is fun because I'm a half Kraut. My dad's from Germany and my mom is from North Georgia.
And y'all got to meet his mama because she is like Southern so to the bone.
Oh,
she is Southern lady forever. So.
And we were just recently talking. She says she was raised on brains and eggs, which is a popular thing around here.
Oh,
but she didn't know until she was a teenager that we were actually brains. I mean, she just assumed that there's no way that could actually be brains. She just thought it was scrambled eggs with something else in there. So, but that's another Southern thing, chitlins and brains and eggs and those kind of things. But,
yeah.
But I mean, having been raised again as a half Kraut in North Georgia. I mean, I've been in Jasper, Georgia since I was 4 years old. And
think about your daddy when he arrived in North Georgia. And your daddy had this thing in his mind, I'm not going to allow things to be this way. He would not have sweet tea at the Woodbridge Inn.
Yeah, for the first 2
It was
decades.
like a war zone.
Yeah.
It was like a war zone. And we kept saying, Joe, when people order sweet tea, they really mean sweet tea. He'd say, give them the sugar, give them the sugar. We're like,
It's
no,
different.
Joe,
No,
it is different.
Yep, it's got to be in there.
Yeah.
So, and he was the first person to point out to me that the term unsweetened is not correct because unsweetened implies that it was sweetened first and then you unsweeten it.
You're right.
So he's like, why don't they just call that tea and the other part sweet tea? Because it's not unsweetened tea. But I think it's because, obviously English was his second language. So to him, he was thinking, well, if you undo something, it has to be done first and then you undo it. So it's not unsweetened tea.
You're right.
So anyway, that's...
Okay, let's talk a minute about Eat Like There's No Tomorrow. 4 years ago, I was sitting at your dining room table telling my friend goodbye.
You know what? It was 6 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh my
It was
gosh.
6 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And there are
But
times,
when the brain thing came back, when was that?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
So,
That was the point in time we thought that we were out marketing your cookbook that you had just finished. You were headed to MD Anderson for what we thought was a final goodbye.
yeah, and I've
Guess
been,
what?
Yeah, I'm tenacious that way. I don't listen well to instruction, I guess.
The Lord's not ready for you, young man.
I'm not ready either, quite honestly.
That's
I've got stuff to do.
That's it.
So,
That's it.
I mean, for those of you that are not familiar, I was diagnosed with gastric cancer, stomach cancer, in 2005, and
Just after your sister passed away from cancer.
my sister Sonia passed away from a long bout with breast cancer in 2004.
Right.
And then I did this Next Food Network star that you mentioned. I was on the Next Food Network star in 2005, and just 2 weeks after that show, was having some problems at work. I was actually editing a television show, and was getting sort of confused and dizzy. And long story short, I ended up going to the hospital, and the first doctor who looked at me said that I was anemic and I needed to eat more red meat.
Okay.
And the second doctor said, that is insane. You have to be bleeding internally somewhere. There's no, there's no way that not eating enough red meat could cause these conditions. And so sure enough, they did a scope, and there was a tumor at the junction of my stomach and my esophagus that they estimate was about 2 years old. So I'd had cancer for 2 years and not known it.
Wow. Cruel. You are a chef. You love to cook, and they're telling you now that you're going to face surgery that will change your eating habits.
Absolutely. I mean, and I'm a huge fan of irony, so I do kind of appreciate the dark humor of the fact that, it's tough, but
you can never trust a skinny
never
cook.
trust a skinny chef. Exactly. That's kind of a stigma I have to work around.
You have to deal with it.
So I initially lost half of my stomach in 2005, and then we over the last 6 years, I've had a lot of complications, a lot of issues, including I ended up with twice brain infections that originally they thought was cancer, and as you mentioned, as soon as the book came out, I went straight to the hospital, basically thinking it was the end of my life. So, but through all of that, we're still here and still kicking strong. And
now let's talk about while you were in MD Anderson recovering, the mail you got, because people were encouraging you. They weren't ready to be done with you.
No, and I think it's a little unique that I shared my cancer story through my blog and also through television the entire time. So. Sometimes maybe a little more information than some people want.
People would call and say, "Have you heard from Hans today? Have you heard from Hans?" And you would actually call in from the hospital.
Absolutely, we did
and
several
the
times.
viewers loved that.
And there were only a handful of people that I would speak to regularly. You were one of them, and then you would then pass along my health news to the viewers. And so you started this little campaign to get people to write a letter and include $1 because. Even though I wasn't able to eat, my wife in the hospital, she at times had to live out of vending machines. Exactly,
vending machines.
There is no regular routine in the hospital, as you know. I mean, it's a different lifestyle, and we just got flooded with not only the cards but dollars, and it meant so much and helped so much. And the little mail room at MD Anderson, they said they'd never received so much mail for one person. It was coming up in boxes, So. And again, with the brain infection, I was actually having problems. I could read, but it caused really, really bad headaches. So Amy would read those things to me, and it was such an inspiration, such motivation to be done with this stuff. Let's get home and get back to North Georgia where people genuinely care.
Let's talk about North Georgia and what are you involved in today? We have to hurry you out of here because you have a real job.
I do have a real job. So as you mentioned, my parents bought the Woodbridge Inn restaurant in downtown Jasper. If you've ever been to Jasper, you have to have seen the Woodbridge Inn. There's a wooden bridge, hence the name. And which apparently used to go airborne over many years ago.
66 Chevelle will hit that bridge flying, and oh my God, it's so much fun.
So,
I was like the Dukes of Hazzard.
that'd be good. They have this little soundtrack going as you cross the bridge.
Yeah.
So my wife and I purchased it in 2009 from them, and tried.
And we have to say,
going.
right at that point in time, your father passed away.
He passed away shortly thereafter, and he was obviously a big inspiration for me, a big, the reason that I do what I do. And the reason I think my sense of humor sometimes is, the way it is, but he was a very funny man. So we started in 2009 with the idea to keep it. We wanted to keep the Woodbridge Inn a part of Jasper. I mean, it is literally in the middle of town. We wanted to keep it as being that.
You can actually walk from any side of downtown Jasper and end up in the Woodbridge Inn in 5 minutes. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the future of the Woodbridge, we're wanting to keep the Woodbridge, alive and kicking. I might not be the one doing it, but I'm always going to be involved with the Woodbridge. With my health being a little unstable from time to time, it's hard for me to do the rigors of in and out. But
and right now, can we share the hours you're open, because you have a great lunch on Wednesday?
Sure. Doing lunch on Wednesdays and Sundays. So lunch is Wednesdays and Sundays from 11 until people stop coming, which is usually around 3 o'clock. And then we do dinner Tuesdays through Saturdays from 4:30. And you'd be amazed. We used to open at 5. But we started opening at 4:30 because a lot of people want to eat dinner at 4 and 4:30. So from 4:30 till about 9:30, something like that. So, but that building, even though we've owned it since 1976, it's been a restaurant and hotel since 1880.
The Lenning Hotel, was that the first event?
Lenning Hotel, absolutely. Okay. James Lenning made a little money out
of it. I
remember
remember that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Here we go. The old lady jokes.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. But he went out and made some money during the gold rush and brought it back to Jasper and always wanted to have a little boarding house. And so that's what it was and remains today.
And it was family style then. At that point in time, it was one long table. And we wanted to talk about this table came from Whitestone, Georgia. Now, at the Woodbridge Inn, once upon a time, there were old long tables. You don't have any of those anymore.
One of those we do have. My mom has it actually in her basement. And I would love to get it refinished and refurbished because it does need some work. I wouldn't trust it with a heavy plate of food at this point, but it's neat that just think of how many people have dined on this, anything antique like that.
But if folks want to come to the Woodbridge Inn, last week you put several tables together and put us front and center by the window that overlooks Sharp Top Mountain, and you can have family style. You could call ahead and say, look, we're going to have 20 people there.
I would love to do that. The problem these days is people are so damn picky.
Surely not.
I mean, it used to be you just pulled up and whatever was served, that's what you eat. And I would love to do that again, but so many people, I don't like this, or I'm gluten free, or I'm whatever, and so you have to. What's funny is the food trends. You go through. It was all non-fat, and then it was all low fat, and then it was all no carb, and then it was. So now the trend is gluten free, and a lot of times people don't even know what that is, and so I'll have customers that say, "Oh, I'm allergic to gluten. I can't. Does my steak have gluten?" I'm like, gluten is wheat. So how is your steak going to have gluten? It drives me crazy sometimes that they're allergic to it. They don't even know what it is.
Have you ever seen the movie Queen Latifah, The Last Holiday?
No.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it because she thinks she's dying. She thinks she has 2 weeks to live. She goes to, is it Czechoslovakia, Prague? I think.
I just caught bits and pieces.
It's awesome. It's awesome. But the chef hates when people come in and say, no dairy, no this, no this. And the chef is like throwing this stuff in there.
It's tempting from time to time to do those things. But,
But what you have now, flounder. I've eaten flounder at the Woodbridge Inn for 40 years.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the favorites, and it's one of those things that when we have it, and it's not always available. I mean, like anything else, you get it when you can get it.
Right.
But when it's available, we pack them in for fun.
Can we do something, because we're going to run out of time? You've got to go to work, but I want to share Eat Like There's No Tomorrow. This is Hans Rueffert's. This is his life story, but more than that, it is his life in pictures. And I can tell you the photography. Is Amy responsible for a lot of this photography?
Amy is definitely the main photographer on the book.
Okay, Eat Like There's
shots.
No Tomorrow. Now there's a picture of Hans before cancer. Is that correct?
No, that's actually, believe it or not,
Actually
that's
after? Okay.
I can see if I can find real quick as you're talking, but
Okay.
I was up to about 215 pounds at the time of the Next Food Network star, and that was my heaviest by far.
Now, photography, a love for her, but it made this absolutely
Well, I think
work.
so too. And in fact, we had somebody asking, could they republish it without the pictures?
No.
And we said no. I mean, there was no interest
not.
for us whatsoever.
No. Now, is this ramp hunting?
I was about to say, yeah.
Okay.
There's actually Huitt, my friend that I was talking about.
Okay, let's show this.
We're looking like wet rats in that picture, but we.
I love a wet rat.
Yeah, we were in exactly where you were talking about, going Toccoa Plain sort of area, on that crazy windy road in the pouring rain, looking for garlic.
Wow.
And that's the kind of stuff that real stories are made of, and we and that's what this book is about. It's about a true love for food. It's not. People think to Eat Like There's Tomorrow, like there's no tomorrow, sounds a little bit sort of morbid, but really it's meant to be more celebratory.
Right. Now look at the color here. And I think that's the thing about your cooking. You combine some very unusual ingredients. One of my favorite things you do is carrot bisque. Let's talk about that. It has ginger in it, which is very good for you.
Absolutely. It's an anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial, so it also helps with nausea if you're feeling ill and whatnot. But definitely there's this whole kind of an eat the rainbow movement right now.
Right.
And again,
Eat Like There's No Tomorrow. There you go.
It's all about color and freshness. Now, once you cook them to death, they have no more of those residual, health properties. But when you're eating things that are that colorful and that vibrant.
Oh no, you just said cook them to death. That is my grandmother's cooking.
Well, and that's the way it is here in a lot of the South.
Yeah.
They'll cook collards. In fact, I did a kale salad here recently, and somebody said, I thought you had to cook that for hours. And you can, but then you're losing all of those great nutritional
Okay, I want to show
properties.
this. This is your father and your children. This is a big part of your life. You survived to come home to your children.
No, I think you're exactly right. And what we're doing in this particular picture is we're hunting for wild mushrooms, for chanterelles, which grow in this area.
Right.
And I got
sell
that from
for
my
some
dad.
ungodly
$35
price.
a pound.
Oh my gosh.
But you can pick
That's
them
more
up
than
for
gold.
free. Not quite.
That's crazy.
But they are gold, and
Yeah.
But anyway, they definitely got a love for food from their opa. They call him opa.
Yeah.
So.
Now, and to your dad, we have to say a big, great job, Dad, because he taught you some amazing work ethics.
Oh, absolutely.
You have worked
Absolutely.
when you literally were not able to stand up in the kitchen. So, for folks to come out and see you at the Woodbridge Inn, can they call ahead, make sure what's on the menu?
Sure.
Can you give the
Absolutely.
phone number for the Woodbridge?
Probably the best way is to go to the website, which is just woodbridgeinn.net.
Okay.
But the phone number is 706-253-6293.
Right.
And it's been that way for as long as I can remember. So.
And you still do catering?
We do some catering. It depends on the event, but I think the best experience is still to come cross that bridge, maybe not 100 miles an hour, but cross the bridge safely and come and enjoy the view and the history and it's just a fantastic restaurant.
And thank you so much for the chicken parmesan. It was wonderful.
Well, good.
I loved it.
That's a
awesome.
long-time favorite as well. So.
And the lemon pie, and if you go to the Woodbridge Inn, please tell them that you would like to have the Cherie special, flounder and lemon pie. The flounder's light, really, really good for you. You can convince yourself there's no calories if you want to, so you can save space for the lemon pie.
There you go.
I said this last week, You know, there's a saying, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I say, if life gives you lemon, make lemon pie.
There you go.
So
Make
there you
lemon
are.
pie.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to go to some great gospel music. Now, we want to share this gospel music with you. This is a DVD that I did in honor of my friend Hans Rueffert, who was at that time in MD Anderson Hospital. We had an event in Jasper, Georgia, and the Diplomats, the Barker Brothers, Angel Spirit, Archie Watkins, Leah Senyard, and this is the music from that. We're going to go now to a song. This is done by the Barker Brothers, and it's called Family Chain. The Family Chain is a song that will touch every single person who ever hears it. Angie got a standing ovation that night and did it twice, didn't
Yes.
she? It was incredible. It was incredible. But this was done to share the story of Hans Rueffert and his great success in battling and beating cancer. So now let's go to some music by the Barker Brothers from Copper Hill, Tennessee.
We've got one that we do. I hope this song touches your heart. We go to a lot of homecomings, and this is one that they always request. It's called Family Chain.
My closest friends have left for heaven. They are resting now, I know. Someday they'll be with Christ forever. There they never shall grow old. The family chain has now been broken. The missing links are safe, I know. I pray they'll all be joined together in that city built of gold. Daddy was the first to leave her, and it grieved my mother so. Right away, she had to join him. They are happy now, I My days on earth will soon be ending, for I can see the setting sun. The broken links will come together, reuniting one by one. The family chain has now been broken. The missing links are safe, I know. I pray we'll all be joined together in that city built of gold. Yes, in that city built of gold.
Welcome back. I know you love that music from the Barker Brothers. Once again, that was an event that we did down in Jasper, Georgia to encourage, support, and bring awareness to our friend Hans Rueffert, who is battling cancer. We have to say now, for him to be cancer-free after all the things he's gone through, we know that prayers are answered. If you have prayer requests that you would like for us to do, in our program, please contact us at thecherieshow@hotmail.com. You can send us an email, and we do an email video blast that sends us a little personal message. We send that out, try to every day or so, and let you know what's going on with us. Now, you're responsible for that, and we've got a whole lot of emails, don't we?
We sure do, and I'm gonna have to be taught how to do the email blast. I know nothing about it.
It is wild. It is wild.
I sit there and type in each email.
He does, and I'm going, oh my gosh, we got to find a quicker way to do this.
Yeah.
But please keep in touch with us by email. We would love to share your recipes with viewers, and I want to share, we did a calendar a couple of years in a row, and folks loved our calendar, and we have to say this calendar is, we have a couple of these available that we will share recipes from on my website, heartofthehomerecipes.com, because my cooking show was on in Atlanta, Greenville, and Calhoun, Georgia for several years, and that's actually how we ended up doing a talk show. And this is our calendar from 2010. This was probably my favorite. Featured a whole lot of desserts. Now, this was one of my favorites, and we have to tell you, in order to do what we do, we have to have sponsors. So it's very important that we take care of business. So right now, I want to do some thank yous. We could not be here today if it weren't for Julie's Restaurant. Now, Julie's is a very special place run by a very special lady. She is a mom, a grandmother, and her family is very important to her. And Julie's is run quite often, many family members running at the restaurants.
Yeah.
She has the LJ location, which is at Clock Tower, and then she has the Jasper location right by Kroger. Now, if you go there, what do you usually eat?
They have a very good BLT.
You know what I eat? Something I just don't cook at home, liver. She has the best liver, and now she has chicken livers. So we took the Bridgmans there, or they took us there actually, the holidays, wasn't it, right around Thanksgiving? Yeah. And Alicia and I both ate liver, and it is so good. So ladies, if you don't like to cook liver, go down to Julie's and get your liver fixed. She is located at 106 Bill Wigington Parkway in Jasper, and also in LJ, just at the top of Clock Tower, at the top of the hill near McDonald's, isn't she? And also near Ed Singleton's offices for Subway.
That's right.
So there you are. We have a very dear friend up in Blue Ridge who made today's program possible. Dawson Associates, attorneys at law, Harry and Lynn Doss, husband and wife legal team, who have been working together serving your legal needs since 1978. You might recognize Lynn Dillard Doss. She's one of those famous Dillard girls. Her sister Julie survived a horrific automobile accident, and you can go to YouTube and check out a song that was written for Julie by Jimmy Allen. Actually, Shelley wrote it, and Jimmy sings it. We had them on with us a year or so back, and people were so praying for that family.
Yeah.
The Dillard girls are very, very special young ladies, and when Julie faced this, the only way they could accept what happened to her was God was going to get them through this, and God truly has gotten them through this. So their T-shirt said it's a God thing, didn't it?
And didn't she recently have a setback, and they repaired the problem, and she's back on the mend again?
She is, absolutely. So please continue to pray for Julie Weeks, Julie Dillard Weeks. And to Leah's Cutting Up Salon. Now let me tell you about Leah's Cutting Up Salon. They have been doing my hair 37 years. There aren't many people in the world who could stand this mop for 37 years. What do you call my hair?
Hornet's nest. Does it not look just like one? Same color.
We're riding in the motorhome, and he's trying to look around to make a turn, and he says, move that hornet's nest. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? This is not my hornet's nest. But we are very grateful to Leah's Cutting Up Salon. We also have got to get in a spot for her husband's business. He is in the concrete business, and we'll do that on the next show. But, you know, we could not be here today if it weren't for sponsors, so thank you very, very much. Now, it rained all night long, and there'll be some people with leaking roofs.
Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you, if you've got a leaking roof, if you need a roof, if you need a little repair, you can call Lonnie Fountain at Fountain Roofing. 30 years experience. He does the little ones to the big boys. And you know, that kid will get on a roof really, really high. He has got a lot of faith because he gets on some of those big ones at Big Canoe. Call him at 706-692-6997 and have Lonnie come out and give you an estimate. He is a good Christian man, and you will really appreciate the work he does. Now, is there anybody else we're thinking about? Okay, Leah's Cutting Up. We got Julie's. We got A&T Towing. Can't say enough about them. It is all about coming to you, and we hope to do that in a different area. You know, we're going to be visiting Hayesville. We went to the Possum Drop. We're going to be featuring things, stories, ideas, places, people that might interest you. If you know of someone who does great gospel, bluegrass, or country music from our area, please contact us at thecherieshow@hotmail.com, because there are some folks out there singing that we don't know about.
Right.
Now, you sing a little bit. Yona, let me tell y'all something. Yona. Yona. Do y'all know what Yona means? And come it. You know, the other day I said, you say go it. And I'm like.
I say both. I say come it and go it.
And that is from your grandmother. That is from my grandmother. Now, my grandmother used to say, well, I'll swan. And I'm like, what does that mean, Granny? There are so many things about Appalachia that you may be familiar with, you may have never heard of. But in
I have to give you a little bit of a hard time. She writes on Facebook the other day because I am country, and she was
Really
talking
country.
about one of the words that I say, which is go it. And she says, what in the dickens is go it? Well, I saw the little post that she put, and underneath that I typed, what does the dickens mean?
Welcome to Appalachia, where rivers, mountains, and good friends meet. You know, we have a different lifestyle, very laid back. Quite often, we will find ourselves just going on a picnic.
Yeah.
Up near Dial, Georgia.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about one of the
Toccoa
drives that we
River.
took, the Toccoa
Yeah.
River. If you have not spent any time on the Toccoa River, we suggest you do that. There are cabins available for rent. There are parking places that you could park your motor home. There are places you can take a tent if you want to go on the Toccoa River. The Toccoa River is truly God's country. It is so, so beautiful.
And you can fly fish. Wasn't that what they were doing up
Absolutely.
there? If you got a license.
If you got a license, and you can't catch but eight. You know, one day I ratted out one of my friends on the air because I'm like doing this live show, and he calls me and he says, hey, I got 9 fish today. And I said, oh, my buddy got 9 fish. He said, oh, God, don't say that. You can only get 8. I said, oops. So there are so many things to do in this area, and we want you to come to the areas we serve. We want you to stop in Cherokee County, Georgia. We want you to get to know the nice folks in downtown Ball Ground. We want you to stop in Talking Rock, Georgia. Now, let me tell you about Talking Rock. Talking Rock holds the biggest mistake of my life. There's this beautiful, beautiful house called Hollyhocks. I had the opportunity to purchase that house for $40,000, and I said, I don't know. It's got problems here and problems here and problems here. You should see it today. It is absolutely gorgeous. So there's so many lost treasures in Appalachia. There's so many dreams to be lived. You know, if you've always wanted to do a bed and breakfast, get out in our area and find yourselves an old home, remodel it, open your doors, and there you go.
Yeah.
You know, up in Ducktown, Tennessee, there's a beautiful old bed and breakfast for sale now. And they have been running that, I think, for about 25 years, and they're ready to retire now. What a great opportunity for somebody to have a bed and breakfast in Ducktown, Tennessee.
And it's right there in town, too,
It's
right?
right in town, yeah, absolutely. Now, on our opening credits and close, when we close, you will see some photos of areas. I love to take pictures of churches. And I did a special a few years ago. I took pictures, Donovan Jones took pictures, we put them together, and Donovan made a special called, what did we say on the Lord's House? Yeah, I believe that's what he called it. And it's a lot of churches from your area. If you would like to see your church featured on the opening or the closing of the Cherie Show, please email us your pictures of your church, because you will quite often recognize a church. I love to get out and look at the churches. It amazes me that sometimes they're little bitty, tiny, older buildings that have been maintained, and sometimes they're the big, huge, massive structures.
The only thing that on the Lord's house that y'all did that I wish that y'all would have added in,
What?
when y'all showed each church,
The name
you would
of it.
put the name of it and where it is, because there was a couple of churches that I was like, I know where that church is, but I could not in my mind place where it was.
Right.
So.
Right, we should have done that.
And y'all had a lot of churches.
A lot of churches, a lot of churches. One of the other things we're going to share with you in the near future is a thing called In the Garden. And Donovan did this based on some photographs from up at Hiawassee during the rhododendron time. And he took that, and then we went out to gardens. We visited your gardens. We, you know, quite often people would come out there, and I'd be in their yard snapping pictures, and I'd say, hey, I'm Cherie, I'm just, you know, whatever. And they're like, oh, that's fine. You're welcome to do this. And we featured your yard, your gardens, quite often your sunflowers, your corn. I actually went out and dug potatoes one day, and you'll get to see that.
Yeah, we've done that a few times. You'd want me to stop, and I'd say, they probably don't care that you're Cherie Martin. Might not know who you are, that you're Cherie Martin.
Again.
Yeah, or the law.
We had so much fun visiting your area, and I think that's what is so addictive to us. We love the places you welcome us to. We love coming to your meals. And one of the best meals we ever had is at Salem No. 2 in Mineral Bluff, Georgia.
Oh, yes.
Miss Linda can really, really put the food out. And when she hollers and says, it's time to eat, we are ready to eat. What is the saying we love?
We ain't meeting if we ain't meeting if we ain't eating.
That's it. So if you have recipes you would like to share with us,
We ain't eating if we ain't meeting.
we ain't meeting
What
if we
difference
ain't
does that
eating.
make?
I don't know. But
Either
we
way,
ain't
it
meeting
works.
if we ain't eating. We want to share your recipes in coming shows. We will go over 10 feet to my kitchen, and Hans Rueffert and I will do a little cooking. This young man right here can make some mean chicken and dumplings.
I sure can.
I hate to say they're better than mine. I really
They
hate
sure
to
are.
say that. Oh, I hate to say that. But we share our recipes on our website, heartofthehomerecipes.com. There are a lot of recipes on there, a lot of ideas for things you can do, a lot of places you can go. It is all about enjoying what is around you. The economy took a little dip, and there were some failures here and there, but within an hour and a half to 2 hours of your home, I guarantee you we can entice you to do something that's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. We have to say a big thank you to our sponsors today, and you will see their names and information as we go off the air today. We're also going to close with some music by Angel Spirit. Now, Angel Spirit, a local group from here in Jasper, Georgia. Jasper, Georgia is the first mountain city. Ball Ground, Georgia is like just leaving the big city, and you really start to enjoy country life. But when you get to Jasper, you realize you have evolved, you're in the mountains. These ladies belong to a church up on Sharp Top Mountain. Their music was only heard in churches until we brought them out and put them on, I think, WATC in Atlanta.
How many CDs do they have out now?
They have 2 out now.
Okay.
And their music is incredible. The lead song for this is We'll Have a Good Time. And today we're going to close with Angel Spirit doing We'll Have a Good Time.
Is that your favorite song by them?
Oh, I love it.
That's one of my favorites by Angel Spirit.
I love it. I love it. I hope you will enjoy this, and I hope you will tune in again to the Cherie Show. We will be coming to you every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and again 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Join us every day as we travel the roads, cook a few things, read a few books, share a little inspiration with you. We hope to lift your spirits. We hope to make you find a reason to smile every single day. I'm going to ask you to do something for me every single day. Please do something for somebody else. It will touch you, and it will come back to you 10,000 times. You know what? We don't say goodbye. We'll say see you later. We will see you later. I'm Cherie.
And I'm Freddy Brackett. Y'all have a good day.
Where are you from now?
I'm from Ball Ground, Georgia.
He's from Ball Ground, Georgia. We'll see you again right here on the Cherie Show.
Listen to a story how Jesus died for me on an old rugged cross of Calvary. There he suffered, bled, and died. On the cross was crucified, and my Jesus will welcome me home. I've come too far to turn back. Heaven's gate I now can see. Loved ones there await for me beyond the gate. I can hear angels playing on harps of golden strings, and my Jesus will welcome and only you could know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You're no stranger to the rain. So go rest high on that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven shouting, love for the Father and the Son. Oh, how we cried the day you left us. We gathered round your grave to grieve. I wish I could see